Right, so today is the 29th of September 2025. It is exactly 30 years to the day that Killer Instinct on the SNES, or Super Nintendo if you will, was released in the United Kingdom, and I live in the United Kingdom. It was an amazing game for the Super Nintendo, and yes, you read the title right. I think Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo is actually better than the arcade. Now, I know that a lot of people will disagree with me. I'll give you my reasons why. It boils down really to one reason overall. But while I'm talking, I will show a compilation of my highest ultra combos on the Super Nintendo version, and then I'll show the highest ultra combos again, but on the modified Super Nintendo version. Now, this modified version was done by obviously very talented programmers. I always wanted myself to be a video game programmer. It never happened, unfortunately. I'll talk about that in another video. But the people who modded Killer Instinct to make it more like the arcade have done a great job. It has more frames of animation, the arcade sound, more effects. It also has more like the arcade combo system, which is why I prefer the base vanilla version, if you will, of the SNES Killer Instinct, because that is the reason why I think the Super Nintendo version is better. Obviously, the arcade version has better graphics, end of story. More, as I've said it several times, more frames of animation, better audio quality, backgrounds look a bit better on most of the stages. Well, some people say they look a lot better. I wasn't a big fan of the rotating camera, but it was okay on the intros for some levels, but where the characters were 2D, it looked a bit odd. The thing is, in the arcade version, when you're doing combos, especially the linkers, they tend to break a lot. In a sense, and in effect, would start a new combo, so to speak. So you're starting a new combo with a linker, a broken combo, if you will. And this would happen a lot in the arcade. It was much more buggy, whereas in the Super Nintendo version, it was much more streamlined. The combos were, I think, programmed better. They didn't drop anywhere near as much as the arcade. Much more refined, much more tight. So that is why I think the Super Nintendo version is better. Graphically, no. Audio, no. But gameplay, and the old expression is, for me, especially when I was young, and even now, gameplay is king. Now, the Super Nintendo version doesn't look bad. It looks excellent. The graphics are amazing. I think they're obviously using the same technology as Donkey Kong Country. The music is excellent. The backgrounds are excellent. In fact, some of the backgrounds I think are better than the arcade. For example, Jago's background on the Super Nintendo I think looks far superior than the arcade, especially with the sun and the water. Whereas in the arcade it tends to be more just dark and black. So there are some aspects of the Super Nintendo presentation wise which are, I think, better. But it is hard to say that, you know, that the Super Nintendo can hold its own compared to the arcade regarding graphics. Compared to other Super Nintendo games, of course, but compared to the arcade was superior in terms of graphics and audio. But I think gameplay, the Super Nintendo version was more refined. It played better. Some of the moves, for example, like there's a flame move by Riptor, where the character crouches and does a flame, and that recovery time on that move, I'll try and put it on the screen if I can, but that recovery in the Super Nintendo is much quicker than in the arcade, so that move is actually much more useful in the Super Nintendo version. But again, the combo system, the refinement, the sharpness and the more accurate execution of the combos in the Super Nintendo version, I think, were better. I've played, oh my goodness, I don't know how many hours I've played of Killer Instinct, just thousands upon thousands of hours of Killer Instinct. In fact, I played so many hours in the arcade, in an actual arcade, spent so much money, so much money. I remember coming home after school every day, going to the arcade machine and playing Killer Instinct. And then when it came on Super Nintendo, when I did finally get it, I played it every day for over a year. And I made a VHS tape, in fact, as a present for a friend of mine, of every combo for every character, every highest ultra combo for every character, every death move or danger move, if you will, or danger combo. Ultimate combo, and all the danger moves, all the endings. Complete the whole game on hardest difficulty with every character. That VHS tape is buried away somewhere in my loft. But I think the game is phenomenal. The port that Rare did for the Super Nintendo was just unbelievable. I think is a testament to how good the programmers were at Rare. It's the fact that it's a UK game as well, made by a team in England, does boast a bit of pride, because back in those days especially, the heavy hitters for programming tended to be the Japanese. The Japanese were, and still are, incredible, if not the best, exceptional at programming. The Americans, also very, very good. The Europeans and English were more, when I was younger at least, focused on, or seemed to be heavily more productive in the computer side of things, especially the microcomputers like the ZX Spectrum, the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and so on. However, Rare were just phenomenal, and for Killer Instinct they did an incredible job. It is an amazing game. I think far better to play it on the Super Nintendo because of the combo system. And again, taking nothing away from the arcade, as I said, superior in quality in terms of graphics and audio, but gameplay will always be king for me. Super Nintendo version still looks incredible, looks amazing, graphics are excellent, and I just want to make this short video to say that on the 30th anniversary of the game, it is just phenomenal. A wonderful game, wonderful experience. If you ever do get the chance to play the Super Nintendo version, I would recommend it. Is it as good as the arcade version? Again, I would say it's better. Again, I know that's unpopular. I know that is a very unpopular opinion. Most people would disagree with me. I think if you're a Killer Instinct expert and you've played thousands and thousands of hours of both the arcade version and the Super Nintendo version, it's hard to deny that the Super Nintendo version, one, isn't a very incredibly competent port. Two, for the machine, the graphics and the sound are fantastic. And if you're going on an unbiased opinion, it's just the combo system is just so much more refined. Again, my opinion, but it's just much tighter and plays brilliantly. I know I've repeated myself many times, so please excuse me. I'm not a YouTuber. I would like to try and make more videos. My video editing skills are next to none. My audio editing skills are next to none. So I do apologise for the very rough and amateurish nature of this video. I just love Killer Instinct so much, and on the 30th anniversary, I know it's very trivial and very small. I just wanted to do a little something to show how much I really love and appreciate the game. To everyone who watches this and listens to this, all one or two of you, have a good day. And again, if you ever get the chance to try out Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo, please do let me know your thoughts in the comments. If I get any, I'll be very surprised. But again, all the best to everyone, and take care.
Supreme victory! Supreme victory!
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that, all one or two of you. And just keep in mind, whenever you feel down, just remember the first time you ever pulled off the
Ultra Combo!